The last kind of the same thing.
So,
Again,
so the pasuk says, so the pasuk says,
you don't know this piece.
Haloim Seitiv says, right? That you become better, but if not, then the pasuk had to say, David gave it to him over the head. And then what is then to say afterwards? The Torah says, "Vayomer Kayin al Havelachiv." Kayin told his brother Havel, "Vayihi b'yesem basada." When they're in the field, Vayakam Kayin spoke up,
What he told him.
and he killed him. What did he tell him?
Yeah, that's a question. Ask him.
So what did he tell him? It doesn't say. It says, "Vayomer Kayin al Havelachiv." Kayin spoke or told something to his brother, and then he kills him. What did he tell him? So Rashi obviously realizes this question, and Rashi says that what happened is that he started arguing with him about something. Got into an argument. That's what Rashi said. I saw last week that the Daskin and Balatis, he says that Kain al Hevel Achiv, that Kain told Hevel everything that the Abishter told him. And he saw that Hevel was happy. Hevel was like, you see, so the Abishter, no, so this before he killed him. I'm sorry. I'm mixing up the story.
Yeah.
This was both Kain and Hevel, they brought a carbon to the Abishter. The Abishter, right?
Accepted Hevel.
Accepted Hevel's and not Kain's. And then Kain says, Kain got upset, right? And David tells Kain, Lama naflu panecha. Halim said, if you shape up, everything will be fine, right? But if not, if you don't shape up, things aren't going to be good. So, so then it says, Vayimer Kain of Lavalachim, Kain tells his brother Hevel and he kills him, right? Okay. So what did he tell him? So Rashi says he got into a fight with him. Got into fight. Well, so that skin about says that Kain told Hevel what Abishter told him, and Hevel was happy. Oh, the Abishter accepted mine and not yours. And Kain flew into rage and he killed his brother. So the Mendel Barroso said, Kain will have a lot. The Abishter goes and he's talking to Kain and he's telling him about you got to shape up. You're a terrible person. Now, when the Abishter talks to someone, it's not like I'm talking to you. I look you in the eyes. I'm talking to you. I'm looking to you in the eyes. I'm looking you in the eyes. Kain heard the Abishter speaking. So Vayimer Kain, what did Kain say? I'll have a lachiv. The Abishter was talking to my brother. The Abishter was giving my brother a chilik. So therefore he stood up and he killed Hevel. Why? Because of this low life. Because the Hevel was such a terrible person. After they kakta, the Abishter is screaming at him like that. So the Abishter had in mind Kain. But Vayimer Kain said, I'll have a lachiv. The Abishter was talking about everything was to my brother. And therefore I may as well stand up and I may as well kill him. Why did I? Anyway, this is also negated today. I was thinking about this last week a lot in Shabbos, because obviously now we're in a time of Muhammad. I mentioned this last week in the class that as Lubavitchers, it's very easy to point fingers and say, "Told you so." I told you. You should never have left. You should never have left the Azah. The Rebbe screamed time and again, never to give away land to the Arabs, because all you're doing is giving them strategic depth from where they'll arm and they're going to attack you again. You're never going to make peace with them. They're never going to accept you. And as I said last week, this was something the Rebbe was saying it when the Rebbe was Kel Bayar. The Rebbe was the only voice. The Rebbe was used to being an only voice. Very, just look. The more there's distance, the more you study, the more you see. You see, there was no one else. There's no one else in the Fruma world who was at that time who was saying what the Rebbe was saying. People were saying, yeah, you make peace with the Arabs. Koach nefesh. Famous letter from Ovadia Yosef, where he wrote his famous heter to give back land. After all, his party, the Shas party, they voted for giving back land and for Oslo and for everything. A letter, which by the way he retracted afterwards. He many years later, he said, no, that was a mistake. I thought it was Koach nefesh, but it's not. But the contrary, Koach nefesh is all the way around. The Rebbe was screaming about this. We're talking about the Rebbe was screaming at this since 1967. The Rebbe had a very there's a book that I read over the last few years. Actually, we started reading it again. It's called Berega Ha'emet. Fascinating book written by some Israeli journalists. One of them is Lubavitcher. One of them is not a Lubavitcher. One of them isn't from here. And they wrote a book about the Rebbe's connections to the political and security establishment.
They know everything but political.
The Rebbe knew everything. You see the letters that the Rebbe writes to the top generals, top people, and the Rebbe's writing in code about different operations. Did it happen yet? Is it going to happen? I think that you should do it this way or that way. These are printed letters. You see that you don't know what I was talking about. What?
Did the generals respond to the letter?
Yeah, there was correspondence back in.
Yeah.
The Rebbe knew everything.
I was sitting with the Rebbe, me and my wife, and I told him I was intelligent and he started to discuss with me thing that soldier in Israel doesn't know. It's unbelievable.
Even to the last, in 1992, the head of the Mossad came and visited the Rebbe.
Who was
He
it?
was interviewed. His name was Yaakov Perry, I think, or Yaakov Free.
Perry.
So this book, they interviewed him, and he said that the Rebbe. Listen, you talk about today, talk about Nevuah. I don't know if you want to say it's Nevuah or the Rebbe Pashat saw things that no one else saw. He said that this is in either 91 or 92, and the Rebbe was telling him, forget about the Palestinians. The biggest threat right now is Iranian sponsored terrorism. That's what you have to fight against.
So far back.
It's exactly what's happening now.
Yeah, in other words, things that he said. The head of Mossad said, I didn't know to tell the Rebbe. I was like, Rebbe, I don't know where you're getting this from. This is the Rebbe is telling this to the head of the Mossad. It's a book. They interviewed Netanyahu. They interviewed many, and also they have the letters. So the Rebbe knew. Talk about the generals who came into the Rebbe for Yechidus, and the Rebbe's talked to them. Like, how did the Rebbe? Everyone knew that the Rebbe that like this is there's an office in Brooklyn where
You get everything.
So, you guys have heard of Geula Cohen?
Sure.
Geula Cohen she was a journalist at first, and then she became a
Minister.
Chaver Knesset, right?
Chaver
A minister,
Knesset.
also a film lady, actually.
Mhm.
And shortly after the Six-Day War, she came to America. She was sent either by Ma'ariv or Yediot. I think it was Ma'ariv for some reason. The newspaper she worked for to interview the Rebbe. So she came in, she interviewed the Rebbe, and she did not publish the interview. Because she published it many years later when she said, now I see the Rebbe was right. But then I couldn't print it because he was saying things that were so shocking. I couldn't print it because you have to realize right after the Six-Day War is when the Am Yisrael was in a state of euphoria. Everyone was so happy and so excited.
Intoxicated.
She comes into Yichud, she's expecting the Rebbe, and the Rebbe, the first thing the Rebbe tells her, I want you to know, they're going to give back Yerushalayim. They're going to give back Yerushalayim. Like this is 1967. This is what's going on already. They're ready. And by the way, they did. They offered everything back. And the mazel is that the Arabs refused to take. Right after there's a famous, right after the 6-Day War, there was, they sent a message to the United States, tell the Arabs, we're going to give everything back as long as we have a peace treaty. Then the Arabs, they had a meeting, all the Arab countries in Sudan, in Khartoum, and they came up with it. No, we're not making peace with Israel, even if it means it started making them. But the Rebbe already saw then exactly where it's going. There was, and in many different occasions, there was always seeing in advance what was going to be. The Kippur War, etc. But it's the easy thing to say is that the Rebbe had Ruach HaKodesh. But it seems from the way the Rebbe speaks, it wasn't even Ruach HaKodesh. Pasha, the Rebbe had such an incredible understanding of human nature and where the Arabs are and how things work. Pasha, as they say, Ezo Chacham Arei Sanaylet, and Chacham Adif Menavi, that a wise person is greater even than a Navi. So as Lubavitcher, it's very easy to point fingers. If only. Why don't people listen to the Rebbe? Why don't people listen to the Rebbe? So I was thinking about that last week, and then I remembered the Vayemer kind of Balachiv. Now the Rebbe spoke to me also. The Rebbe told me a lot of things to do. Am I doing all the things? So it's always Vayemer Kayin Al Havalachim. It's always the Rebbe is screaming at them. So why aren't they listening? Why and me? What I do isn't so important. It's not so important. But second, the Rebbe also had a lot of messages to that. The Rebbe wanted me to learn more Nigla, and the Rebbe wanted me to learn more Chassidus, and to have more obvious Yisrael. But that's good. There's not the other person, Chas v'Shalom, they're not listening, so we have to be ready of them. Then we have to. So it's just interesting thought. Is that Baruch Hashem that
the whole thing is hard to understand. If you think who has to bring a carbon, before the Tahanan, who's the Becharim and who's the Bechar? Kayin. So why is Kayin as the Bechar, his carbon not accepted, while Hevel is not the Bechar? It's a lot of questions.
Well, it's a pattern we find in the Torah. If you think about it, the Becharim didn't really do too well. Kayin didn't do too well. Yishmael didn't do too well. Esau didn't do too well. Reuven didn't do too well. Aaron didn't do too well. Nadav and Avihu didn't do too well. Gershon Kosmari. In other words, we find it actually Ephraim and Menashe. Aaron Oinon, if you look until Matan Torah, we don't see that the Bechorim
Correct.
did pretty well. In fact, they usually messed up. Shem Chamyafas, right? Shem wasn't the Becher.
We're talking about giving all.
I know he talks a lot about this. Hirsch. Samson Fall Hirsch, he has a big Torah on this Nakuda.
B'chayim.
Yeah. And that it was the hepech of the way it was in the olden times, in time, the ancient world. So then Bechorim were everything. And by the Abish, there was, don't tell me Becher, not Becher. If you earn it, you earn it. If not, not. Anyways.
Where they were making peace, Arafat. When Rabin with Arafat and Clinton, they had a piece of paper, and Rabin gave about 97% of Yerushalayim and everything. Arafat came like this, his pen in his hand, a picture of this, doing like this to pick up his hand. No,
So that wasn't that was later.
This was later,
It
right?
was there. In 2000, Ehud Barak. There wasn't Rabin.
There
It was
was that.
2000 that there was a meeting in Egypt, yes, and Israel was willing to give back everything, and Arafat at the end, all he had to do was sign. Okay, so the
And he
war with
put his
Israel,
finger.
the war with Israel is over. He would not sign that. Not sign it. That's whatever you give, they're never going to sign that. They're never, and it's never going to be over. And therefore, the whole lot. Yeah. Today, everyone, in hindsight, everyone sees that. Chiddush that the Rebbe saw this in advance. In hindsight, today we see what we're dealing with. What's a chayas? It's okay.
Savages.
So since we're not learning Tanya today, Mitch, and next week hopefully we'll have a camera. We'll start Kunta Sachen. Menias v'yikuvim. Starting Kunta Sachen apparently. We finished the first 4 Chalak Tanya. Now we have one Chalak left. So we'll talk 2 ideas that come to mind from the Rebbe Sichos and Parshas Noach. Parshas Noach, it's one of those. It's a crazy parsha, right? So Reish is a crazy parsha. I think Lech Lecha things start stabilizing a little. Noach is still a lot of things. You know, the Mabul,
Keshes.
the Keshes,
But in Malay Aretz Hamas.
the Zerach Flaga, what exactly what happened over there, so difficult to understand.
But in Malay Aretz
And
Hamas.
Isaiah Venus and Eibschitz, he says that they're building the Migdal. Venus and Eibschitz says why were they building the tower? A launching. He said it was a launching pad, so they can all go into a spaceship and to launch. They wanted to build a tower that reaches higher than the atmosphere, where there is no gravity, so they can all take off and go to outer space, so they wouldn't be impacted by another mountain.
Wouldn't that be impact?
By another Mabel. There was a
There's a cashes. There was a covenant, a bris. There won't be no.
kasha. That's what he says. The tower was a launching pad. They got higher than gravity, where there is no higher than above the atmosphere. So from there they can launch a spaceship. That's what he said. Anyways, back upon him. So I want to focus on 2 parts of the story of Parshas Noach, and both of them are lessons in Avos Yisrael and Ben Adam Lachaveri, which today we know, as mentioned last week, that if we have to be mechazik ourselves in every single area, the one thing that requires chizuk more than anything always is Avos Yisrael. Avos Yisrael and Achdos Yisrael is the key to everything, to all the brachas we get from Hashem. Barchenu Avinu Kolanu Ke'echad. When we're Kolanu Ke'echad, when we're all as one, then we have Barchenu Avinu. So we know that it took Noach 120 years to build the table. A lot of red tape. Today, the construction, every construction, it feels like it's 120 years, whatever you want to build. So you get this permit, that permit, yeah, a permit. I don't know, maybe the Teva department of the local building department maybe was 120 years. The Rebbe has a Torah on this. The Rebbe says, I said that the Eibishter told Moshe, right? You have to make it. And therefore, Noach understood that he had to make it himself. So if he makes it himself, start everything. Takes time. And you can't go to Home Depot and get the slats, right? So every single thing from beginning to end, from scratch, made himself. Back upon him. Why was it 120 years? So that he'd have time to warn everyone about what's going to happen and about the impending catastrophe, and everyone should be able to do tshuva. And that was the Abish's kavanah to take 120 years. So the question is, why Noach took 120 years? The Abish didn't tell Noach.
120 years.
He said, make a teva, and Zuzan Makdim Mitzvah. Why did it take 120 years? So that's a separate question. But in hindsight, the reason why the Abish wanted it to take 120 years was so that
Speak to people.
yeah, the people
Tshuva.
are walking down the street, in the middle of the city, the middle of
What are you doing?
Where did Noach live? Haran or Kasdim, wherever he lived. Okay, well, it wasn't near a sea, and they see he's building a big boat. Imagine you walk down a place on Avenue J, and you see someone is building a huge boat. In fact, why are you building a boat over here? And I want to build a boat. Go to the water. Go to a shipyard. It's
Yeah.
in the middle of nowhere. It's a weird thing. So that's what happened. People come by. Why are you building this huge boat? The Titanic of the time, except it didn't sink. So what would Noach answer? Noach would say, the Abish is going to bring a mabul. Good trip. 120 years passes, then mabul comes. How many people did Noach convince to the tshuva? The answer is
Nobody.
Zero.
exactly zero. 120 years and a success rate of zero.
איש צדיק היה בדורותיו, אם היה
Why did he
בדורותיו
wait
של
for
אברהם,
120?
Sorry.
Why he waited for a full 120 years? He saw that after 5, 6, 7, 8 years.
That's not why he waited. The Abishter gave it 120 years to give
The
people the
Rebbe
shidduch
they didn't stipulate that you should take 120
I understand, but
It
the
was on his
Abishter
own.
arranged. No, he didn't. The Abishter arranged that it should take 120 years. Why? Because the Abishter wanted the people should be warned. At the end of the day, he warned and garnished. Now, one person was saved, except for Noach and his children and his own family. No one was saved, which means no one did tshuva. When you fast forward a few hundred years, you have Avram Avinu, and Avram Avinu, in a span of a few decades, he managed to make tens of thousands
About you.
of Bali Tshuva, of Geir. That's what the Rambam says. Look at the Zari, look at the Rambam. The Rambam says that Avram Avinu, tens of thousands. So what was, you want to say Avram was a little more charismatic than Noach, I accept. Maybe he was a better speaker than Noach. His YouTube channel had maybe more followers than Noach. But how do you explain the disparity between tens of thousands to zero? So it's hard to understand. So one of the sikhs the Rebbe explained, it's such a deep word. It's not a difficult word, it's a deep word. What do we say about Noach? We say, Eila Teilus Noach,
איש צדיק היה
Noach was a
בדורותיו.
tzaddik. Noach was a tzaddik. So the king is halach Noach, the Eibishter, Noach went in the Eibishter's ways. The Eibishter tells Noach, jump, and Noach says, how high? The tzaddik. Hashem tells the Noach. Hashem tells Noach, build a teva, he builds a teva. Hashem tells Noach, I want you to tell the people there's a mabul coming, there's a tshuva, Noach, do the teva. But did Noach really care about the other people?
No.
He was a tzaddik.
For himself.
All he cared about was doing what the Eibishter wanted. He was a
Didn't do
tzaddik.
anything on his own.
Nothing on his own. Nothing on his own. Eibishter tell me what to do, I'm doing it. Why? Because I'm a tzaddik. And that's what a tzaddik does. And that's what Rashi says when I get to Avram. Avram, you say, Halikim asher yishalchu, it's the Lashon Avoisai Lifonov. Avram and Yitzchak went not Esalakim, they didn't follow the Eibishter, they went before him. Meaning what? Avram Avinu, the Eibishter's agenda was his agenda. It wasn't just Eibishter told me what to do and I'll do it. He got it. He got what the kavanah was. He cared. He cared about people. He genuinely cared about people. It wasn't just listening. I think this is a joke that I might have said in the past. It's one of my favorite jokes. I might have said it here from a lot of years already. What, how many years? 8 years? We started talking, by the way. 9 years it is?
Yeah.
We started after Sukkot. In other words, this time of year. What?
Anniversary.
November 14th? How in the world? Oh, 2004. It's 10 years.
Almost.
Oh, for 9 years, 9 years. Because we started around this time of the year. We started. It was 9 years, okay. So we're entering our 10th year. Hasiri Yakodesh.
Have to make big
I look at the videos of me from the early years. The beard. What?
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know what happened to me. I became old. You're contagious, everyone. I caught your white beard, your white hair from you. I'm assuming 10 years ago, your beard also was a little less white than Stana. Anyways, so The joke about a British guy, a wealthy British guy, and this is a long time ago, 70, 80 years ago. And he's going for a 2 week vacation to the Bahamas. So he gets on a plane, goes to the Bahamas, and a week into the vacation, he gets a telegram. Telegram from his butler. Telegram has 2 words because telegrams, every word costs money. I'm not old enough to remember telegrams. Maybe other people here are old enough to remember
Yeah,
telegrams.
Western Union telegrams.
And
Yeah.
every word costs money. Even with my white, even with the white hair, I don't remember telegrams, right? And
I
what
remember the Western
It's a
Union
fake beard.
telegrams. I remember.
Rabbi Chanowitz, you remember telegrams? Good. And the telegram had 2 words. Cat died. Cat. Hustle.
A chassul?
Yeah.
Asul
Cat died.
face.
The Mr. Cats.
His cat died.
Oh,
His cat died.
yeah.
Okay, obviously, he immediately cuts his trip short and he goes back to England, buries his cat, and says Shiva. And appropriately, he mourns. And after 2-3 weeks, he still has a week vacation left in the hotel. Right? So he's going back to the Bahamas. But before he goes back to the Bahamas, he calls in his butler and says, you did a terrible thing. Terrible thing. You know what kind of shock you gave me? The telegram cat died. You know how much I love my cat. Butler says, so what should I have done? He says, if you use your seichel, he says, here's what you should have done. Should have first sent me a telegram that says cat stuck on roof. And then a few hours later, he sent me another telegram which says cat fell, is sick. And then a few hours later, he sent me cat died. This way, it's not a sudden shock. Yeah. Yes, sir. Anyways, the guy goes back to the Bahamas. 3 days later, he gets a telegram from his butler. Your mother is stuck in the roof.
Oh, a mother-in-law would be better than mother.
That's why I love the joke so much because it's so touching. It's when you're a dummy, you're yosel of the Greilam. Hey, what do I do? Tell me what. The Frierdiker Rebbe once made fun of Siddim who are they're like, Rebbe, tell me what to do. No, I'm not telling you what to do. In other words, figure it out. That's something we spoke about in the past. Figure it out yourself. And he says, he's thinking about this year in Yom Kippur. And he said, it's like those people are saying, So'uni vatiluni el hayam. Where's the pasuk So'uni vatiluni el hayam from? From Yonah, right? Think about it for a second. People come to Yonah. I'm sorry, we're going to talk a little negatively about Yonah because the Frierdiker Rebbe, there was something negative. He was saying, people come to Yonah and saying,
Because of you.
So they say, what should we do? So what does Yonah say? Throw me into the sea. What do you mean throw me into the sea? Jump into the sea. If it's your fault, why are you telling them to throw you into the sea? What's So'uni vatiluni el hayam?
Mm-hmm.
Where's your sense of responsibility? So'uni vatiluni. You want to throw me in the sea? Throw me in the sea. Siddim come to tell me what to do. You want to throw me? You want to throw me into Texas? Throw me to Texas. You want to throw me to Utah? To where? No, I'm not throwing you anywhere. Go pick yourself up and go. In other words, I need you to understand. I need you to get what I'm saying. Not that you're the British butler who doesn't get anything and has to be told. Right? Noach was that tzaddik. Noach was the perfect person. Hashem, tell me what to do. Oh, you want me to scream at the people? I'm screaming at the people. Now, if you ever were screamed at by a person and you realize that the person isn't screaming at you because they care about you, they're screaming at you because they're trying to be a tzaddik. They're being mekayim the mitzvah. You know what kind of feeling that evokes inside you. You're like, go away, go be a tzaddik in someone else's cheshire. Right? Say, spare me your tzidkis. Avraham Avinu, no one got the feeling from Avraham Avinu that he was being a tzaddik on their cheshbon. When Avraham Avinu went and spoke to them, they realized he cared about them. And that brought tens of thousands of Yidden, of Goyim closer to Lachzis Tachas Kamfei Yachshkina.
He has help. He has Sarah Imenu with the woman, and he was with them.
Yeah, on a similar note, we know that there's one mitzvah which we don't. There's one mitzvah which is interesting. We don't make a bracha on it before we do it. Even though B'chal we make brachas on a mitzvah. And what is that? Stucker. We don't make a bracha before giving tzedakah. And reflect them. There's a lot of meretzvek them. They speak about it. Why don't we make a bracha before giving tzedakah? The Rebbe actually once spoke about this. It's a serious question. In other words, a meretzvek them and halachic way. But the Rebbe once said the Pilush of Art. He said that's from the non-Chabad sources, from Chassidus, but not the. In Chabad, when we talk about other Chassidish sources, non-Chabad, we used to talk about Pilush because There was the Russian Siddim and General the Pilis. So the Russian Siddim were most of them were Chabad. There were some also non-Chabad in Russia. Like upon him, he said that imagine a poor person comes and asks you for money, and you have to make a bracha. You say bracha. You hold on 1 second. You run to the mikveh first. Then you put on your gartel. Then you make a l'shem yichud.
Poor
And
person
then,
gonna die.
and then you make a bracha with kavana. By the time you give him the money, the guy's dead, right? Like the famous story with Fanny Agel, right?
Yeah.
Don't make a bracha, just give him the money. That's what they're. But I think there's also something else over here. Imagine someone comes over to give you the money. I say, I have to marry off my daughter. Help me out a little. You're like, oh, of course. Hold on a second. Baruch atah Hashem Malikeinu melech ha'olam asher kedushanim mitzvah mitzivanu al nesina tzedakah. Here, take $100. What does the guy feel like? You were his mitzvah project just now. Sorry, he was your mitzvah project. You don't care about him.
Yeah.
You don't care about him. You just say,
It was a little lulav.
yeah, he was your lulav, exactly. He was your lulav. You know, no, don't make a bracha. Hear about him and take out some money and give it to him. Don't make a bracha on this. Just give him the money. When another yid needs help, you help the person. Don't make him feel like a mitzvah project.
Well, you don't say someone's coming for he wants to marry off his child. Say "Chatnis from the shidduch."
That's another thing not to say. That is correct. So this is a very I take this very personal. This message from the Rebbe. It's a very deep idea. We have to help other Yidden. And there's a mitzvah, means that we have to try to influence our fellows to do mitzvahs, to learn Torah. We have to know that if we're doing it because there's a mitzvah, if we're doing it because, and the person will feel it. It's not, you can't fool people. Can't fool people. If you don't care about the person, and if you're doing it because there's a mitzvah, and I'm a tzaddik, and therefore one of the mitzvahs in Torah is the Chayei, you're like, no, you're not going to get anywhere. You're going to make zero bali chukka. How can we have to make out of other Yidden? And especially now in our time, we have to make out of more Yidden to get Yidden more mitzvahs. But not because we need to be tzaddikim, but because we care about them and we love them. And when you go with that attitude, then you're like Avram Avinu, and you have a tremendous pula on the other Yidden.
And all his Hasidim, none of them went. Only his own family, Yitzchak. None of them went in his direction.
Right. So it's another good question that they talk about it. Apparently, the Rebbe passed away, and the new Rebbe didn't find. Chassidim weren't too happy with the new Rebbe. It's a different style. It is talking right. Avram was Chesed, Yitzchak was Gevurah. What are the answers that's given? But it's a good question. It's a good question. What happened to all the Chassidim of Avram Avinu? Okay, so that's one nekuda. I'll share with you one more nekuda. A different part of the story. This is later on. We have the Chassidish part of the parsha when Noach says a lot of l'chaim. Bring the lot said a lot of l'chaim, right?
No, bring the long.
Bring what?
Bring the long.
Bring the long.
And there's a problem with the.
I don't know. He didn't know how to do it right. He took wine instead of mashke, like upon him. Noach gets drunk, right? Okay, drunk, and he's lying naked in his tent. And what does the pasuk says? The pasuk says, "Vayar." Let me get a chumash.
Right there.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
On the way. More. Right there.
Perfect.
Shemaiah doesn't help.
Shemaiah doesn't help. That's correct.
Small one is very,
Yeah.
very small one.
Your daughter beat you.
Yeah.
Strong, that's strong.
Okay.
Okay.
But you have the mitzvah anyway.
Not only did your daughter get it for me, but she even opened up to the right pasuk, to the right page. Oh my, something good. Okay. So what did the pasuk say? Vayish v'nayayin vayishkar Noach becomes drunk. Vayiskal b'seich ahalei, and he becomes revealed naked in his tent. So we know Chum did a terrible thing. What did he do? Vayar Chum avi Knan es ervasav. Knan sees his father naked. He tells his brothers, what did he do wrong? He gets punished for some reason, very harshly, but it doesn't. I know Rashi says that the Rabbi Seinu Emrim that they did some bad stuff to his father, but in the pasuk you don't see that, right? It just says that he saw his father. Okay, now what happens? So Shema and Yefes they take a garment,
וילכו אחרונית.
right? And they put they put it on their shoulders, right? They go backwards. And they cover up their father's nakedness. Their faces are backwards, but they didn't see their father's nakedness. And there's an obvious redundancy over here. Their faces are backwards. Obviously, unless they had eyes in the back of their head, because they weren't mothers, they didn't. Only mothers have eyes in the back of their heads, right? So because they didn't have their faces are backwards, then obviously they didn't see their father's nakedness. In fact, Rashi also he understands this is a problem, but he answers it. The Rebbe has a very interesting answer to this. The reason for this redundancy. But first, to understand that we have to preface a very famous teaching of the Baal Shem Tov, that when you see a fault or a flaw in someone else, another Yid, you have to know, when you're listening,
Yeah.
that you're looking at a mirror.
See yourself.
And therefore, it's a flaw in yourself that you have to fix. So, for example, let's say you're sitting by a chair, and you see someone else's phone goes off. You're like, oh my gosh, that's a terrible thing. You have to know that it's a mirror. And Sahakal, that only means that you have that flaw yourself, and you have to fix that flaw in yourself. That's the Baal Shem Tov says. Can accept that, Ruben?
So you got to keep quiet, or you.
No, you have to start looking at yourself and figuring out.
What do you do in the meantime to get?
In the meantime, you sit and think, where is that flaw within myself? How do I fix it?
With your share.
You're ignoring me. You're ignoring what I'm saying.
I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
It's
You
plain.
have to take any action about it at all.
You do have to take action.
On yourself.
Yes. On yourself. So
That's
you're
what the
sitting.
mirror is all about.
Yes.
It mirrors back to you.
Perfect. Imagine you look in the mirror, okay, and you see that the nose is dirty. What are you going to punch the mirror? No, you go clean your nose. Right? So the same thing is when you see a flaw, you have to know it's a mirror. It's a hackle. Don't punch the mirror. Go clean your nose.
Did you close your phone?
Anyways, this is not obvious question. This is what Baal Shem Tov says this. Who says? Just because the other person is an idiot and doesn't turn off the phone, why is that? Why is it a mirror? Who says that I have that flaw? What's the logic behind this? We're used to accepting things on faith. There's no faith. This is obviously a lot. Everything has to make sense. So the Rebbe explains this is based on the larger idea of the Baal Shem Tov, which is that you have Hashgacha Pratis. Hashgacha Pratis doesn't only mean that everything happens with a reason. If I become aware of something, the Eibishter wanted me to be aware of it. Why is the Eibishter making me aware of another person's flaw? That's Lashon Hara. The Eibishter is saying Lashon Hara. No, there has to be a reason for it. It's like Lashon Hara L'Tiyelas. There has to be a reason for it. And the reason why the Eibishter is showing me another person's flaws because sometimes I'm
Showing you your flaw.
and in myself, it's hard to see. I don't know about you guys, but me, sometimes I'll see something in someone else and I'm like, oh, that's a midah meguna. And then I stop and I say, 1 second, I think I have that a little also. But in myself, I don't see it. But when I see it in someone else, then I can say,
Then you start figuring it out.
you know
right?
what? Wow, that is disgusting. But you know what? I just realized I have it also a little. I have to work on myself. So it's Hashgacha Pratis.
It means everything a person sees and hears, Kadosh Baruch Hu gives it to us as a mirror.
Exactly. It's for a reason. It's for a reason. Nothing is by mistake. Hashgacha Pratis means not only that the thing happened for a reason, but the fact that I'm experienced it and I'm aware of it is also for a reason. Sounds nice, but the Rebbe digs a little further. The Rebbe says, well, 1 second. Maybe, it's not Hashgacha Pratis. Maybe the reason why the Eibishter made me aware of it is so that I should be mekayim the mitzvah. Maybe that's why I'm aware of it. Maybe the reason that I'm aware of it is that I should be able to help the person and influence him that he should change his ways. That's good. Now, why do I have to say that I have a flaw? Yes, there has to be a reason why I saw it, but maybe the reason is that I should help the person. So here the Rebbe says something. I'm going to say it for a second time today, something very deep. And the Rebbe says, if the only reason why you're meant to see it was to help him, you wouldn't see a flaw. You wouldn't condescend or judge the other person. All you would see is that you need help. You wouldn't see the chsarm in the person. By way of example, Imagine you're walking along on Coney Island along on the boardwalk and you see a kid is drowning or an adult is drowning. So do you stop and say, what kind of idiot is that? Why did he go into the water? There are no lifeguards. And the waves are rough. No, you don't have such thoughts. There's one thing that's going through your head. And what is that?
Save him.
I need to save this person.
Jump in.
There's no judgment. There's nothing. You're not looking at the person's nakedness. I don't mean physical nakedness. I mean, you're not. All
And
you're
it's
seeing
facade.
is an opportunity and the obligation that you have to fix. If when you see another person, all you see is your obligation to help, then it's not a mirror. Then there's no mirror here. And that's not the reason why you saw this to help the person. But if you see the person, you see a chsarn in the person, then you know it's a mirror. And you know it's a mirror. Vayarcham Avi Kanan Ace Ervasaviv. Cham saw his father's nakedness. Not only he saw the physical nakedness, he's like, look at my father. He's a drunk. He has no self-control. He's an addict. And what does the next pasuk say? Shem and Yefes, they took the garments. Vayichasu as Ervasavim, they covered up the nakedness. Upnei machiranis, their faces were backwards, and more important, the Ervasavim leiro. They didn't see their father's nakedness. It wasn't about that. It wasn't about that. They did not, in any which way, look down at their father. They did not, in which any way, see and say, how could he have done that? Or seen, they just saw something has to be done. We have to fix it. That's our opportunity
Went to
fix
help
it. And
their
they went,
father.
and that's it. The Ervasavim leiro.
Is it also kibbud avayim?
I didn't keep it up, but the main thing is, so what? And now we understand. We said, what was the big? Well, what did Ham do wrong? That itself, that is the problem. And Sheman Yafas Ervasavim Leiro, they didn't see it. And we're talking before about the being Mekar of Yidden and influencing Yidden. So once again, it's another message along the same line. We have to care about other people. The Ervasavim Leiro, we're not supposed to see the Erva of other Yidden. We don't see bad in that. We see our opportunity to help them. That's all that's important. We don't judge other Yidden. All Yidden are amazing, are good. Over here, the Abish, there was Mazakim me with the ability to be able to help a Yid become even better. With the Erva Savim Leiro, we don't do that. So those are some ideas from the Parsha to go to take home with us and to influence how we interact.
So I had that sample years ago. I see in every J a bunch of Fry Yidden walking with one Lubavitcher Chassid. One of the Fry Yidden on Shabbos was smoking. I am saying to myself, and I caught myself later on, why is this Chassid allowing this kid to smoke? But then I thought later on, he's accepting everybody that way it is, and he's making nice to them. So eventually they're going to turn around. So I saw my flaw right a little way later. Why did I look at this smoker right away? He didn't know better.
Yeah, we have to look at the good.
That's the good.
We have to see the bad only as opportunities to fix, not as a bad.
All right.
And it's one last word also, which I heard from Mendel Meraza. He said that there was once a Rebbe. I don't know if it's a true story, not a true story, but he said there was once a Rebbe who said that every single parsha, at the core of every single parsha, and if you look, you'll find Abbas Yisrael. So there's one of the Siddim said, Rebbe, really, every single parsha, how about Parshas Balak? I don't know why he asked Parshas Balak. He says, Balak? Balak is easy. The name Balak is Rosh Tevis for Vahafta L'Riyacha Kamecha. So the Chassid says, Vahafta L'Riyacha Kamecha. Vahafta is a Vav, Balak is a base. And Kamecha, it's a Chaf. And Balak is a Kuf. It's a Stipnish, as they say in Yiddish. It doesn't add up. There's your lesson. You have to have Abbas Yisrael even when it's a Stipnish. Even when it's a Stipnish. Even when it doesn't add up, even then also you have to have Abbas Yisrael. So in every single parsha, we have to find Abbas Yisrael. I think we uncovered two of the Abbas Yisrael gems in this week's parsha. Now to take it and actually put it into action. Good Shabbos, everyone. A week of Yeshuas, of Nisim, and the Abish are continuing to protect the Yidden wherever they are, and especially in the land where Ein Hashem Elokecha Ba Mereis Shana V'Achar Shana. Next week we should gather for a victory. So to say, and better yet in Eretz Yisrael.
Amen.
And Mitzvah Hashem, next week hopefully we'll start.
They said about the Chafetz Chaim. One time he's walking in Shabbos, and he see a guy smoking. I don't know if the Chafetz Chaim So he came over and said, you know it's Shabbos today? He said, I know. And you know, not allowed to smoke? I know. So he turned to Ribono Shel Olam and said, look at this. Look at this Yid. He's saying only Emet.
Yeah.
He looked the good and everything.
Let's say the story about Rabbi Yitzchak of Berditchev.
Which was
No, No, what he said was the Germans are smoking. The guy was a survivor.
That's another story.
Oh, sorry.